NDTV United Spirits Road to Safety campaign partners with Enactus, a student body from Delhi School of Economics, to host the Young India Summit towards road safety. The objective of the event is to initiate a dialogue amongst the youth through interactive sessions, filmmaking competitions to bring to the forefront this important issue.
We are talking about drunken driving. The issue, some may say, is a habit of the youth. It may not be completely true. Many people drink and drive, but yes, youth tend to be carefree. But being carefree does not mean you have to be irresponsible. So we are talking about, can the youth be responsible and still be free? Can it be the new cool thing? And to talk about this, we have a lot of eminent guests with us. We have Mr. Navdeep Mehram. He's the Head Sustainability United Spirits Diageo with us. We also have Mr. Laksh Wij. He's a young, youthful guy who is the Head of Health Vertical in Urban Clap. We all know Urban Clap. And then we have Dr. Ashish Chandra. He is the Professor at Department of Commerce of DSE. And we have the very young Miss Shehzala. She's the President Enactus DSE. Now, we want to begin with the youth here, because we are talking about the youth, so we should. Shehzala, I'm assuming you're the youngest one. We know that Enactus has been actively involved in making people, the young people, responsible. But you yourself are young, you interact with youth. What is it that really drives people to do what they do? Is it peer pressure, or what is it?
The theme that says, can young and responsible be the new young and aware? So like, young and aware has been a concept that's been around for a while. We've been talking about youngsters who are aware. We talk about us knowing a lot more than we did maybe some 10, 20 years ago, the youngsters of 10, 20 years ago. But I personally think that any sort of awareness that we as youngsters might have, and that awareness, when it's not followed up by some sort of action or initiative on our part, I think that's hollow awareness. Awareness in isolation is not what is sufficient to drive a youngster. As a youngster, as somebody who's pretty young myself, I think it's the drive to make some sort of a difference. When you know something's happening around you and you just keep it to yourself, that's awareness in isolation. I think it's this responsibility to make awareness a more actionable concept that could be the main thing that drives the youth of today towards a better tomorrow.
Absolutely. Navdeep, why is your company associating with this particular campaign, and why the youth? Why do you think the youth is the target audience for you? Why do you want to talk to them?
Diageo has a purpose which is celebrating life every day, everywhere, and celebrate it responsibly. So that's what drives our organization to work with communities we basically are connected with, and those communities, they must arrive home safely. Through our programs, we try to hit that chord, that we make them realize that what is a responsible behavior, how you are responsible for your actions, and how they can harm others also. The partnership with youth networks like Enactus help us achieve more scale, achieve more impact through that.
Absolutely. Dr. Chandra, you have been working with students all your life, and now I would assume you understand them more. How do you think you can actually reach out to them? Because when we say, I may say that it's cool not to drink and drive, but will they understand it? Because right now they might think that people who don't even understand what youth are, most of us are little beyond youth, you know. So they would say, who are they to tell us? How do you connect to them?
This issue is something which needs to be, initiated and take forward with the youth, because they are the people who are going to take the country, they are the future of our country. So we as, faculty members or teachers or part of, responsible society, responsible citizens in the society, we should take them with us, and we need to lead by an example, and we need to make them sensitized towards the issues related with drink and drive, road safety.
What you think could be a change that a person, an individual can bring about? Shehzala, the young people, how do you think one young person can make that change, not only in himself, or maybe someone around him can also be changed?
That drive to actually take responsibility for others, it's more of an intrinsic thing. And that's why I said we need that actionable awareness element in the youngsters. Just knowing that you should not drink and drive is not enough.
Laksh, do you think technology and startups are helping us in actually taking an informed decision and not making a mistake? Because I feel so. Now we have so many options. You don't have to drive after a party.
I think, yeah, even I took an Uber last night, and I was so glad it is there. But just coming back to the entire topic of an individual, what it takes them to be, I think it's about saying no. And then when you say no, especially in a young group, in a peer group, you might be looked down about.
Ridiculed.
Ridiculed. Yeah, that's the right word. Ridiculed. But you have to just take it, because saying no shows control. And I think once you say no, other people will learn from that. And I think that is what it is.
There are a few things India is famous for. Food, color, travel, temples. And there are a few things we are infamous for. And to top that list, I think it would be road and traffic. And we are talking about this particular issue only. Are safe roads, is it just a myth, or it can be a reality? And to talk about this, we have a panel of eminent guests with us. Let me introduce them. We have Kuldeep Singh Gangar. We have Commodore Ranbir Talwar. He's Indian Head Injury Foundation representative. We have Professor Vijay Kumar Shrotia. He's the professor at Department of Commerce in Delhi School of Economics. We have Mr. Aman Gulfam. He's the manager, Supply Chain Division, Maruti Suzuki. And we have Mr. Amar Srivastav. He's a banker, and he's also been involved with the Indian Road Safety Cell. Perception is that roads are not safe in India. In fact, in many places we see the countries which are in development index lower than us, they have better traffic and road safety standards. We agree with that. It has to come from people, and we've also been talking about it. The attitude and the behavior has to change, but someone needs to lead them to that. You know, the flock has to be shepherded to that particular goal. Do you feel the government is doing enough for that?
I'll just go a little back before I tell you whether the government is doing enough. Importantly, there is a decadal plan of the World Health Organization which runs from 2011 to 2020. It's a 10-year plan. And India is a signatory to this plan, and we're supposed to reduce our death rate or mortality rate by 50%. We are already 6 years plus into the plan, and the death rate has increased. It has not reduced. That's the first thing. Now, as you asked, that somebody's got to lead this. Yes, the government has to take the lead because they have the power with them. But it cannot alone do anything. It has to be supported by all of us. In fact, like all the gathering here today, each one has to learn from this and go and teach someone about it. It has to percolate down. Otherwise, it's not going to move along. The government can do whatever it wants. But unless there is a people's participation, it's not going to happen.
Yes. Professor, because here Sir talked about teaching. You know, we have to teach people.
Things are not as bad as you see. And if we look at the government policies, I think government policies have been nice, but the problem is really with us. And things have really improved a lot in the last 30, 40 years. If you look at how things were 20 years back and how things are today, you look at the pressure on the roads. And I think the more important thing would be if we can educate our children. And you have networks through which people come to know about what is happening. And if this can be imbibed into our education system, I think things can go really much, much better. Because it has to come from within. It cannot come from somewhere else. So if people start behaving like a responsible citizen and they see that, yeah, I think if we do something bad, it is not good for society,